Have you ever wondered why two people can go through the exact same struggle, but only one grows from it? What if it's not about luck, talent, or timing, but something as simple and powerful as attitude? Today, we're diving into Attitude is Everything by Keller, a powerful book that invites you to reshape how you think and act. But this video isn't just a quick summary. It's your chance to tap into ideas that could genuinely transform your life. You'll learn how adopting a positive mindset and viewing setbacks as stepping stones can move you closer to the goals you've always dreamed about. And the best part, you won't have to read a single chapter to feel the impact. Stick with us, and you'll see how the smallest shift in your language or mindset can create big changes. If you're feeling stuck, unsure how to move forward, or just overwhelmed by negativity, this might be exactly what you need. The book lays out practical ways to reframe your thinking, break free from limiting beliefs, and begin making real progress. You'll see how your thoughts can directly influence your experience of life. You'll also understand how the words you use and the actions you take can reshape your path. Ready to enter a mindset that opens new doors? Let's begin. Part 1. Success starts with your mindset. The way you think shapes the way you experience the world. Think of your attitude like a window. It's what you look through to understand everything around you. Two people can go through the same event, yet one walks away feeling grateful while the other feels bitter. Why? It all comes down to the lens they're using, their attitude. As kids, we start off with that lens clear and wide open. We fall and get back up, never doubting that we'll eventually learn to walk, run, or ride a bike. We don't see failure as defeat. We keep going. But as we grow, we begin to pick up the doubts, criticisms, and judgments of others, parents, teachers, peers. Slowly, that window gets foggy. The positive view we started with becomes clouded by past disappointments and negative experiences. Over time, it becomes harder to see the world clearly or believe in what's possible. Sure, someone else might inspire you for a while, but long-term motivation, the kind that sticks, has to come from inside. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I can't change the way I think. That's where most people are wrong. There's plenty of proof that you can change your perspective, starting with those who've lived through unimaginable pain and still found light. Take Viktor Frankl, for example. He was imprisoned in a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. Every single day, he lived through hunger, freezing temperatures, and physical and emotional torment. His entire family was killed, either in those camps or in gas chambers. Imagine that level of suffering. In that dark reality, hope would seem impossible. Yet Frankl didn't lose his will. He held on to a simple truth. No matter how much had been taken from him, one thing remained: his ability to choose his response. That's the essence of attitude. It's your personal power to decide how you interpret what happens to you. Even in the middle of horrific conditions, Frankl chose to find meaning. He learned that what truly matters is not the situation itself, but the perspective you hold. Prison life was brutal. The guards were relentless, and survival seemed like a miracle each day. Frankl paid attention to how those conditions wore others down. Some became angry, broken, or numb. But he resisted that pattern. He refused to let cruelty define him. He believed that things like hunger, sleep deprivation, or even declining health didn't determine who you were or who you could become. It was your internal response, your attitude, that made all the difference. The key to navigating life with strength, just like successful individuals do, is to embrace a mindset rooted in positivity. Being confined doesn't automatically make someone guilty of wrongdoing. True freedom lies in your ability to think positively, no matter your circumstances. Even in the horrific conditions of the concentration camps, where people were stripped of their humanity and treated worse than animals, Viktor Frankl didn't just endure. He came out stronger. He went on to become a respected figure in psychology and carved out a distinct legacy. His well-known book, Man's Search for Meaning, offers deep insights into human resilience and purpose. Each of us acts like a magnet. You've probably asked yourself why some people manage to succeed while so many others don't. The explanation is straightforward. We become what we think about. Your thoughts shape your reality. When you consistently focus your attention on a specific goal, one you're genuinely passionate about, your energy aligns with it. As a result, you naturally begin making choices and taking steps that bring that goal within reach. That's how a powerful attitude sets the stage for achievement. The stronger your belief in something, the more you start drawing it into your life. When you fully believe you're capable of achieving anything, and that belief becomes a part of your mindset, you'll find yourself making it happen. So, if your aim is to develop a positive outlook, you can't just think about it once and move on. It has to be something that stays with you all day long. Jeff Keller, the author of this book, shared his personal journey of stepping into real estate. His interest was sparked after watching others in his community buy properties and earn impressive returns. Sure, real estate came with its challenges, but the rewards were hard to ignore. Jeff wanted to be part of that world. The idea stayed in his mind constantly, yet he couldn't bring himself to take action. Fear held him back. He kept dwelling on everything that might go wrong: issues with tenants, problems with rent, and a whole list of what-ifs. He had a dream, but he was approaching it with the wrong mindset. It wasn't until Jeff began reading books about how attitude influences success that something inside him started to shift. In 1986, he made a clear decision. He was going to buy 2 properties that year. This time, there was no fear, just focused determination and a mindset that backed him up. For half a year, Jeff kept that goal front and center in his thoughts. Every evening, he met with real estate agents, exploring homes without rushing, moving forward with patience and purpose. By the time the year came to a close, just like he envisioned, he had purchased 2 houses. That outcome wouldn't have happened if he hadn't transformed his attitude. By shifting how he thought, he changed the entire course of his life and ultimately became the successful real estate owner he once dreamed of being. To reach your own goals, you've got to picture success clearly. You need a strong mental image of where you want to go. Many famous musicians and athletes talk about how they used to visualize their future accomplishments from the time they were kids. These images play like a movie in our minds, often telling a powerful story about where we've been. And here's the thing: those mental pictures are yours alone. You're the one who decides what plays in your mind. Nobody else can do that for you. When we were young, our minds were free of doubt and baggage. We believed anything was possible. The world felt wide open, and we saw ourselves as capable of doing great things. But as we age, our past disappointments and failures start to fog up that clarity. Each time we think about trying something new, we're haunted by memories of when things didn't work out. That fear holds us back before we've even begun. When you keep hitting roadblocks, it's easy for your mind to get overwhelmed with negativity. But here's the truth: you're the one shaping those outcomes. If you've built a negative self-image, it's up to you to rebuild it into something positive. Start by taking a deep breath and imagining a new, uplifting version of your story. Let your imagination come alive. Engage all your senses. See it, hear it, feel it, so the picture becomes real in your mind. Take Robert, for example. He had been nominated to run for a judge's seat, something he had dreamed about since he was a kid. It was a huge moment. He was excited, but also incredibly anxious. As the days went by, his nervousness only grew. The thing is, Robert had everything it took to win. He was smart, qualified, and had real potential. Luckily, his friend Jeff stepped in and gave him a suggestion that would completely change his mindset. Jeff encouraged him to start signing his name as Judge Robert Jones. He told Robert to keep that new signature somewhere he could see it every day. So Robert wrote it down, tucked it into his wallet, and started seeing it constantly. Without even realizing it, this small change began to shift something in him. That mental image of being a judge grew stronger and stronger. Eventually, Robert started to believe it. He felt like he already was a judge, and that belief kicked him into high gear. He got serious about campaigning, worked harder than ever, and pushed his team to give it everything they had. He was already a strong contender, but with his mindset aligned, he became unstoppable. Once that vision turned into real conviction, it created momentum. And once your attitude shifts like that, nothing can stand in your way. The key? Commitment. Without commitment, even the best ideas fall flat. It's the fuel that drives your goals forward. True commitment means being all in, doing whatever it takes for however long it takes. And when you really commit to a dream, something incredible happens. The world starts to shift with you. You start noticing doors that were always there, but now they begin to open. Still, commitment isn't just about action. It's also about resilience. Life will throw setbacks your way. That's guaranteed. And when it does, your persistence will be put to the test. That's why real commitment is about staying the course, no matter how tough things get. Look at Jerry Gladstone. In 1999, he launched his own business because he was passionate about selling toys. Just a year later, he pivoted to focus solely on animation art. He worked with different studios, but the results were underwhelming. He knew that real success would only come if he could land Disney. So he picked up the phone and reached out. Disney said no, but Jerry didn't let that stop him. For 3 years, he kept following up, over and over again. Eventually, someone at Disney got so frustrated, they left him a voicemail saying he'd never make it in. Did that discourage him? Not one bit. In fact, he doubled down. He started calling more often. His persistence finally paid off. Disney said yes, but only if he agreed to open a store in Minnesota or Massachusetts. That was tough. Jerry lived in New York and loved everything about his hometown, but the very next day, he headed for Boston. He scouted out a location and called Disney right back. His determination impressed them. They brought him into their program. 1 year later, he got the green light to open a store in New York, and a decade down the line, Jerry had grown into one of the top sellers of animation art across the globe. Part 2. Watch your words. The way you speak shapes your path. You might not realize just how powerful the words you choose can be, but they're far more important than most people think. The way you speak has a direct influence on how you feel, act, and even how your future unfolds. Your words fuel your attitude. When your language is filled with positivity, your mindset naturally follows that same path. That's why it's so important to be intentional with what you say. Every change begins with a single thought. That thought turns into the words you speak. From there, those words shape what you believe, which fuels your actions and ultimately leads to the results you experience. Once you form a positive image in your mind, it's essential to reinforce it by using encouraging, uplifting language. And when you talk about your dreams or your goals, be selective about who you share them with. It's best to open up to people who are optimistic and supportive. Their mindset can elevate yours. They'll also be the ones to cheer you on, or keep you on track when things get tough. One story that really brings this idea to life is about a man named Kent Calhoun. He was a physicist working with NASA and led the search for extraterrestrial intelligence project. His work involved building software to detect signs of life beyond Earth, an incredibly ambitious mission that many would call unrealistic. But Kent believed in his goal and poured himself into the project. Now, the challenge wasn't just the complexity of the mission. Kent was also facing a personal obstacle. His physical condition made the work even harder. But he didn't see it that way. In fact, he viewed it as a minor inconvenience. What might surprise you is that Kent was blind. Yes, blind. Yet he never let his condition define him or hold him back. He knew that using negative, disempowering words would only give his limitation more control over his life. So instead, he chose his words carefully. He spoke in ways that allowed him to take charge of his situation. That mindset allowed him not just to cope, but to thrive. Kent earned a doctorate in physics and became a respected figure at NASA. Think about that. A blind man earning a PhD and contributing to a groundbreaking scientific project. He succeeded not just because of his intelligence, but because of the way he chose to see himself and how he spoke about his reality. Now imagine if you started thinking about your biggest struggles as if they were just small hurdles. Imagine the strength you'd discover within yourself. When you stop letting your challenges define you, everything starts to change. Let's shift gears for a moment. Think about how many times someone asks you, "How are you?" in a single day. Probably more than you realize. And because we hear it so often, we tend to respond without thinking, almost like it's just part of the routine. But what if your answer to that simple question actually influenced your mood and set the tone for your entire day? That's exactly what happens. In a way, answering that question is like giving yourself a mini pep talk. It might seem small, but those words matter. So ask yourself right now, how are you? Are you feeling great, just okay, or maybe a little off? Whatever your actual state, the key is to lean toward the positive. Even when you're tired or not at your best, saying something like "I'm doing fine" can begin to shift your mindset. Let me give you an example. There was a woman named Sally who often felt drained at work. Whenever someone asked her how she was doing, she always gave an honest answer: "I'm so tired." It became her default response. But by constantly repeating that phrase, she was reinforcing that feeling, day after day. Sally kept repeating to herself and others how exhausted she felt, and with each reminder, that belief sank deeper. As her day unfolded, that mindset only amplified her fatigue. She even reached a point where she nearly dozed off at her desk, almost slipping from her chair. Now think back to the coworker who asked how she was doing. How do you think he felt hearing her tired reply? It definitely didn't lift his spirits. Chances are, it pulled his energy down too. Sally's response didn't just affect her own mood. It had a ripple effect, draining the energy of those around her. Later that evening, she returned home feeling worn out and sluggish. She collapsed into her favorite armchair, looking to unwind, and casually grabbed her lottery ticket to check the numbers. To her shock, she had won $10 million. Just moments before, she could barely stay awake. But now, she was full of excitement. She jumped up, danced around the room, and immediately began calling friends and relatives to share the news. That night, she didn't sleep, not because she was tired, but because she was thrilled. So what changed? The answer lies entirely in her mindset. Earlier, Sally had convinced herself and her body that she was tired. Her constant focus on feeling drained became her reality. But when something positive entered the picture, everything flipped. She suddenly found the energy that seemed impossible to summon before. That's the power of your thoughts. The way you talk to yourself and what you dwell on directly affects your physical energy. Your mind is always listening, and so is your body. Be mindful about what you feed it, in both words and thoughts. Part 3. Help comes when you take action and choose positive company. Out in the world, there tend to be two types of people. There are those who carry a heavy load of negativity. They complain, doubt, and spread discouragement. And then, there are those who radiate hope and uplift others. These are the people who encourage you to move forward, who remind you of your potential, and who stand by you when you reach for your goals. It's essential to keep company with those who lift your spirit. Negative individuals have a way of pulling others down with them. They're always focused on what's wrong, and if you spend too much time around them, their energy starts to seep into yours. You start thinking smaller, doubting more, and moving slower. That's why it's critical to be intentional about who you allow into your inner circle. Take Smokey, for example, a longtime friend who worked in the funeral home ministry for 45 years, specifically in the sales department. Now, when most people think of funerals, they imagine grief, sorrow, and a lot of emotional weight. You'd think working in that environment day in and day out might turn someone cynical or gloomy. But not Smokey. His outlook was full of light. He believed we absorb the energy that surrounds us, like sponges soaking up what's around us. And he knew that if you let negative people into your space, you'll start to feel their weight over time. Even though he spent his days surrounded by reminders of death, Smokey made it a priority to stay clear of negativity. He held firmly to the idea that if you want to keep a positive mindset, you have to be selective, not just with your friends, but also with your family members. The people you spend the most time with influence your mood, your thoughts, and your direction. Face what scares you and keep moving forward. Often, just when you're on the verge of reaching something meaningful, fear shows up. It might not be a huge problem, but fear has a way of blowing things out of proportion. If success is what you want, you have to be ready to lean into discomfort and take on challenges that scare you. Growth doesn't happen when you stay comfortable. It happens when you push through the fear. When you feel afraid to try something new, don't just avoid it. Pause and look at that fear more closely. What exactly is scaring you? Where does it come from? Once you understand it, you can take steps to manage it. Because if there's something deep inside you that you really want, and you back away from it out of fear, you're giving up more than just an opportunity. You're giving up a piece of your own growth. Sure, choosing the safe route might bring momentary relief, but over time, it chips away at your confidence and your sense of who you are. Don't let fear steer your life. Instead, find the courage to act anyway. Step forward, even if your knees shake. That's where real change begins. Let's take a moment to hear the story of a woman who found a way to face her fears head on. Dottie spent 32 years as a high school teacher. Deep down, though, her heart belonged to the entertainment world. She had always dreamed of being on stage, writing music and singing, but fear kept her from taking that leap. Teaching felt like the safer option, the path of stability. Still, her passion for performing never faded. While managing her classroom, she kept her creative spirit alive, writing songs and dreaming of a different life. Then, one summer, she finally decided to follow that long-held dream. She handed in her resignation and told herself she was ready to break into show business. But the moment that safety net disappeared, fear came rushing in. Faced with the uncertainty of starting over, she panicked. The fear of failing overwhelmed her, and she went back to teaching. Yet, that dream didn't die. Her love for music still burned bright. 6 months later, she made another decision. This time, she would confront the fear of rejection. She stepped into a new chapter of her life and, in her 50s, launched her own musical show. By 60, she released her first album and began performing in bars and clubs across New York City. Dottie looked back on her journey with pride. She found joy in knowing that she had finally lived her dream. Age didn't stop her, and neither did fear. She found happiness because she had the courage to chase what she loved, even later in life. That brings us to something important. Don't be afraid to fail. Earlier, we talked about how real growth comes from stepping outside your comfort zone. Sure, trying something new can be scary. And yes, failure is likely. But none of that means you should hold back or stay still. If there's something you want with all your heart, go for it. Try once, twice, 100 times if you have to. Keep pushing. Let's talk about Jack and Mark. These two co-wrote a book they believed in. Their goal? To get it published within 3 months. They sent it out, only to be rejected. They tried again, another no. Over and over, they faced rejection, a total of 33 times. Most people would have thrown in the towel, but not them. They kept going. Eventually, a publisher said yes. The timeline they had set, 3 months, turned into 3 years, but they stuck with it, and that persistence paid off. Their book went on to become a massive hit. You've probably seen it on shelves everywhere. Chicken Soup for the Soul. The authors? Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. Their success wasn't because they never failed. It was because they refused to quit. So here's the takeaway. Don't let the number of failures discourage you. Don't treat rejection as the final chapter. What really matters is how you respond to it. Your attitude is what shapes your path forward. At this point, you've seen just how powerful a positive mindset can be. In part 1, we explored how your thoughts create your reality. When you focus on the good, you begin to attract more of it. Then, in part 2, we looked at how the words you use each day can shape your experiences. Even something as small as how you answer the question, "How are you?" can impact your mood and energy. Part 3 walked you through how to stay positive and make real progress. You discovered why it matters to surround yourself with the right people. By now, it's clear that the people in your life can lift you up or hold you back. You also saw how pushing beyond your comfort zone is key to growing stronger and becoming who you're meant to be. This book hands you powerful tools, simple yet effective, that can unlock the path to your goals. And the truth is, it's not complicated. It all starts with believing in the power of your attitude. You've got to take charge of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. If you're aiming for something big, something no one else has done before, it begins with shaping the right mindset. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't let uncertainty hold you back. Begin today by building a mindset that leans into possibility and invites joy and fulfillment. Here's a quick way to check where your attitude stands. Picture a glass on the table, filled halfway with water. Do you see it as half full or half empty? There's no wrong answer here. What matters is the way you instinctively see it. That small difference says a lot about your perspective. So, that brings us to the end of Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. We've explored how changing your perspective can completely reshape your journey toward success. Keep in mind your thoughts and how you express them. Hold the key to the life you want. If today's reflection helped you see things in a new light or encouraged you to take that next step, don't keep it to yourself. Share this audio summary with friends or family who could use a boost of clarity and inspiration. And if you haven't done it yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next message designed to fuel your personal growth. Has a shift in attitude ever changed your life in a big way? We'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell us how your mindset is shaping your path toward success. Attitude is Everything by Keller leaves us with a powerful truth. Your thoughts shape your reality. Through stories, examples, and practical tools, this book reminds us that success doesn't start with circumstances. It begins in the mind. A positive attitude isn't just a nice idea. It's the foundation for action, resilience, and meaningful progress. You have the ability to choose how you respond, to rise above doubt, and to move forward with purpose. So here's a challenge for you. Over the next 7 days, catch yourself every time a negative thought pops up and flip it. Replace doubt with belief, fear with hope, and hesitation with a step forward. Watch how that small shift in attitude starts changing the way you see yourself and the world around you. If this message sparked something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, leave us a comment with your biggest takeaway or personal story, and hit subscribe so you never miss content that helps you grow. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope this journey through Attitude is Everything has inspired you to think differently, live boldly, and keep choosing a mindset that leads to joy and success. Until next time, take care and keep believing in the power of your attitude.